It's fun, crazy. It's painful, but it's wonderful. What is the name?
It's Reusse Unchained.
All right, Patrick, where does this Viking season rank in going off the rails among unexpected, we've had sort of
Yes.
expected, but unexpected surprises on a season that's gone this bad?
Yeah, I was trying to think of that. When were we terrible and didn't expect it? I can't remember. I mean, I guess I can't. One doesn't pop to mind right away. We've had a few of them, but the one I always recall is the when Fran came to town in '72 and they went 7-7. And we got Fran back, and they had the greatest. Alan Page had been the player of the year defensively, and they had the greatest defense of all time. The year earlier they'd beaten the Packers 3-0 when the Packers had you know 300 yards and they had 50, and so we
Yeah.
had finally upgraded quarterback, and then Fran came in and Beano Cook, I remember, had the greatest, was kind of a smart alecky. I'm not sure what Beano was doing then. I'm not sure. He wasn't at ESPN yet. But I remember he said they were going to have 7-7 on Tarkington's graves on headstones when he died. So 7-7. It worked out better for him. But yeah, that was a year out of nowhere where you thought it was, oh man, we got Fran, this is gonna be great. But and there's been a few, I
I
guess,
mean,
but O'Connell.
2010,
Yeah.
2010's the all-timer,
Yes, right.
but that was
Yeah.
a colossal disaster.
Yes. And that 09 team wasn't they weren't that good, but they kind of fooled us, and were a little better. But yeah, that was a disaster. But O'Connell was, man, he was. I listened to a little of the interview. I mean, his press conference
Yeah.
yesterday. He was defeated. He was despondent, man. He was just babbling. He got into the thing about the play down on the goal line, and that took him 5 minutes to beat himself up, and it was what we've seen a side of him we didn't know existed, right? As this has
Oh,
come, he sounded like a depressed individual. He did yesterday. So, what was your reaction to him?
Oh yeah, he's despondent right now. But he also tried to have Max Brosmer do a few things that he thought were
Yeah,
smart. It's like Max Brosmer's not, I mean, God bless the kid, but he's not capable of that.
and yeah, and I think he tried to suggest that he had downsized the offense
Yes.
to some extent the last couple of
And now he
weeks,
needs to
right?
downsize it
Now,
more.
now he's saying
Yeah.
but his explanation for not running on 4th and 1 and make it easier because it would have been wide open. Well, yeah, it would have been wide open if you blocked the guy, but that's how often can we say that boy, if that play would have really worked if they'd only blocked those two defensive ends who came in and killed the quarterback, so
Yeah, and then I don't think that they certainly expected the quarterback to pitch the ball
oh,
underhanded. And I mean that's a high I mean that's going to be on the highlight film for a long time of like bloopers.
and miraculously, JJ is now coming out of the portico, and he's going to end up playing. That was
Yeah.
that was a setup deal from the beginning. I think that they were going to try to give him another week off after the god awful Green Bay game. And he comes back now this time with really no pressure, right?
Right.
I mean,
Well,
if
yeah.
he still stinks,
Yeah.
then you really got concerns now because if he comes back, no pressure, no expectations, we're hoping that they only win like one of their last 5 games, right? You want them
No.
to go 5-12 and get a good draft choice, and so there's no pressure on him. But if he comes back and has still got the yips, then you got serious problems.
To quote you, what are they going to do?
Yeah,
Like at that point, what the hell do you do? I think you just have to go get a quarterback, a veteran,
yeah.
Just
Yeah, you
plug a
do.
veteran back in and say to hell with it. But boy, that's a wasted season then.
Oh man, yeah, it is. You gotta go get the last guy that was a high draft choice that failed, and then maybe think he'd get another one on the rebound.
Is Zach Wilson?
That's the new quarterback market. The guy that bailed, that flopped. You know what? When you start throwing names out there, this isn't that unusual to have a number 10 stink. A
Oh,
10th overall pick. It's not that unusual. We're shocked by it because we got ourselves all worked up. But I mean, Josh Rosen, he couldn't play a lick. And there's Trey Lance. Trey might play this week. No, wait. Uh, uh, the guy that Herbert
yeah,
Haber,
Chargers.
yeah, is going to play, right? Even though he broke something.
I think
So,
they did a surgical procedure, but it's his non-throwing hand.
and is
So
Trey
yeah,
Lance the backup? Is that where he's the
yeah.
backup? I
Trey
think.
Lance is in Chargers, Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just it's it's the in modern sports, it's probably the most complicated position there is because the defensive. There's only one way to play defense now in the NFL with you can't do anything with the receivers and downfield and anything. You just got to try to kill the quarterback, right? You have to figure out different ways to put pressure on the quarterback, and the job is tougher than it's ever been. And there's been more than McCarthy will be in a large group of flops if he can't play. And I don't know. Do you think? I know I saw they were giving you a hard time on Twitter because you thought he looked good playing against air out there, and and
I tried.
the arm, the arm was fine. Man, I don't know. It's a mystery to me. But do you think it's all mental with him? I think it's all mental.
Oh, I think it's yeah. I think it's that, and I also think that you cannot take what happens in a practice and guarantee that same thing's going to occur in games.
Oh yeah,
You know. But
that's
yes,
yeah.
I do think a lot of it is. I think a lot of it is that I also don't think. I think what we've learned is O'Connell's weakness is young quarterbacks because he thinks that they can play like veterans.
Yeah, that could be. But here's the other thing is, and I'll go back to it. You shouldn't have treated him in the exhibition games like an experienced
Uh,
player. You should have played him. You should have played him a half the first one and into the second quarter at least. You should have given him a look at it, even though it's not as fast as a regular season game. You still have athletes out there trying to make the team. Blah blah blah.
yeah.
It was stupid to treat him like he was a regular. Like this is it. There was. I mean, it's. I think the whole thing of never playing any players is young players in the exhibition games is stupid if they're high draft choices or stuff. But I guess the one thing that they could have felt good about Sunday was that Turner probably had his best game yet, right?
He's
Is
been
is
last
he
3 games or so. He's been really good.
is he finally learning? Huh? He was probably you know killed the quarterback Alabama all those years, and
Yeah.
he probably wasn't checking around to see what was going on. He just putting his head down and storming in there. But he's a I thought he was a fantastic athlete. He finally starting to play good. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Hey, I got a question. What happened to the Wisconsin Badgers, and why did
ooh.
we storm the field? You texted me that on Saturday. They stormed the field. I said no, they didn't. You said no, they did.
They ended up
Whew.
with they ended up with a lot of them out there too. They were all saying that. Did you see how many yards were total offense in that game? The
No.
Gophers won that game with 218 yards.
Wow.
They made 200, and Wisconsin had 248 or 258 or something like that. I mean, it was in the snow, okay, but yeah, the he's the Gopher fans have really lowered their standards. Some guy texted me and said, there are 9 teams in the Big Ten that wish they were this good. No, there aren't. Nobody, no, there are not 9 teams in the Big Ten who wish that the only teams you beat. I went through and the 7 teams they defeated were 28-56 this year. And the 7 the not the 7 the 5 teams they defeated were 28-56, and the no, the 7 teams they defeated were 28-56, and what was I don't know. Oh, in the Big Ten, the 5 teams they defeated against everybody else in the Big Ten, they were 9-31. So he had the easiest schedule today. Okay, he played Oregon and Ohio State. Wisconsin played Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, and Indiana, and Alabama instead of Northwestern State. So they were terrible.
I was
But
going to say,
why did
they're bad luck.
why did they get so giddy about how great they were going to be that they would schedule that 2-game series with Alabama? You couldn't get PJ.
That was a long time ago, though, right?
Yeah, I know it
Scheduled.
was 5, 6, 7,
So
8
they
years ago.
so they were competitive back then.
Yes, but you couldn't get PJ to play one of those teams if if you put him on on the stretcher and tried to pull his body apart by the limbs or something. He wouldn't play any. He wouldn't play any of those teams.
They didn't. They did not win a road game, correct?
No,
They did
they were
They did not
7-0
win a
at
road
home
game.
and 0-5 on the road, and they won one. They won one game really. Nebraska, they played great, and Nebraska ended up getting the head handed to them by Iowa again too. So
Yeah, Nebraska's not. It's not going to work. Like they're just. I don't think they're ever
it
going
ain't
to
it.
get any semblance. I think they think the glory days can come back in Lincoln.
Oh, they did. They're kind
They
of.
coming back.
They're not as crazy as they were 6, 7, 8 years ago. Because I was downtown when the Nebraska game was here that day, and it used to be a sea of red downtown. Then it was a kind of a, now that's when they're playing in the dome too, because you wanted to stay downtown then, but then it wasn't a sea of red, but it was a wave of red. Well, now it was a trickle of red this year when they down there. They're starting to. My favorite ever though, I was down there for Oklahoma #1, Nebraska #3. I think Nebraska was 1, and the Oklahoma was 3. And I went down there for that game, and that's when who was the great quarter? They had the great quarterback at Nebraska, and then Oklahoma came in and beat them. Barry came in and beat them. I don't 28-14 or something. And I remember there was this guy who was kind of a semi-guard down in front of the Nebraska locker room, and he had a red tie and a red hat and an N, and he was all he was he was all very upset, and he was saying they sure didn't play good today. I said, what do you mean they, buddy? You're dressed like you're on the team, and now all of a sudden they get their ass kicked, and they're they. You're calling them they, Were they when they were winning the national
Oh
championship?
hell no!
No.
That was we.
They gotta finally. They gotta finally be. They can't be selling that place out all the time like they used to, can they? I can't remember. I mean, this has been
might be.
long. This has been a long time. Wait,
Yes.
you've lost 6 in a row to the Gophers, or 6 in a
Oh
row?
God, yeah. They have been mediocre at best for years now.
Well, the worst thing they ever did was when they fired Solich and brought in that moron who was the son of the guy, the moron they brought in, and they immediately went 3-9 after Solich was there, and because they were only 9-3 with Solich, so they had to change things. But it was something back in the day when it was an 8-team league. And Nebraska and Oklahoma were the two best teams in the country. Now, the other thing is, Nebraska would get those New Jersey guys out there, and they'd be driving nice cars. Now,
It's like
you know,
Wisconsin did too.
yeah, now there's a lot of states to go through before they get to Minnesota, before they get to Wisconsin and Nebraska. Oh yeah, berries.
Ron Dane, I think, was a very well compensated
Yeah.
running back.
Yeah, I don't think Ron Dane grew up saying, "Boy, I want to be a Husker out there in New Jersey." So, well, he when Barry moved, when Barry moved up there, he'd been at Iowa, right? Quit. He'd
Yes,
been at
Hayden.
Iowa. Yeah, he'd been there for Hayden. So
Yeah,
Hayden was a fine recruiter, I'll tell you that.
Hayden knew all the tricks. Hey, what are your thoughts on the fact that we have now officially anointed Ant the? I think we're now calling it what, the lead guard. I don't think we're
Oh,
calling
is
it point
that?
guard now.
Oh, yeah. So that's what I've been saying. They want him to be Luca. And
Yeah,
Luca's much more comfortable with the ball. Well, Luca wants the ball all the time. But Ant, they just they finally decided that they don't have one, so he's gonna have the ball all the time, huh?
yeah. He's gonna have the ball. There, I think they're gonna redistribute how the minutes Conley plays to try to get him into the game more in the fourth quarter. But Ant's gonna be the primary guy throughout much of the game.
So they've decided Dante is not the man, huh?
Which they're right about. He's not the man
Yeah.
for that.
Well, and it's not his fault. They were,
No.
they were force feeding him. But this is what this can be. What they're telling us is we're going to an 8-man rotation, and Dilly isn't going to get many minutes, right?
Yes, Dilly. Dilly is going to spend a lot of time watching Timberwolves basketball.
I think I brought this up the other day, but did you see the last night again? Have you seen the last two games for Nah down there? He's made
No,
12 threes the last two games. The other day he had 34. They got beat last night, but he's ever since they got rid of the ball hog, Trey Young, Nas their lead man, and he's making shots. They don't have any shot makers off the bench. They don't. I mean, Shannon will go to the basket. He can't make a shot.
yeah.
The other guy, Clark's terrible. He's not an offensive player at all. So, but so if he's phasing out Dillingham,
Mm-hmm.
then you got to have a kind of a ninth guy, don't you? Who would that be? I don't even know where they're going here. Maybe they're gonna. Maybe that Jazong or something. They're gonna see if he can make a shot.
Johnny. Yeah,
Johnny, whatever his name is.
maybe, but yeah, Ant is. I'm just curious to see how this develops because it's a lot to put on Ant's plate. And as far as Ant goes, like there's times where I think it'll be fine, but there's times where it could get dicey.
Well, and I don't know if you've. Uh, I want him off the ball a lot so you can make him one pass and take a shot, or get to the basket.
Yeah,
When he's got the ball, I think he's more effective getting to the basket when somebody, throws him a ball in the wing and he just storms in there. And the fact that he's going to be up top, he doesn't have the variety of shots that Luka's got. He doesn't have the fat ass that Luka's got to muscle his way to the basket either. He doesn't have the, get me in traffic and I'll be great that Luka does. Luka, the more guys are around him bouncing him, bumping him, that he kind of bumps them back and then gets that little fall away shot going. And I don't think I think this is they could finish sixth, but I think they're a play-in team. I don't like them that well.
really? Okay.
I don't like them that well because I think well they're not. Yeah, Connolly's older and they're not as deep as they were last year without Alexander Walker and Clark is. I got my basketball buddy was telling me that guy. They're all excited about him because he can guard somebody. He says you can lock him in the gym, and he couldn't score 10 points by himself. So uh, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. How about, hey, somebody told me this, and I haven't checked it, okay? But there, I was at a family type thing, and there's a young guy, single guy there, who's, he's one of those almost 40 single guys who's likes the single life, right? Downtown guy, good job. He was, I think, in the second row and paying $200 a night for a seat. He said Laurie and A-Rod bumped those tickets up to 800.
Oh, I buy that. Yeah, yeah, they're trying to bleed every dollar that they possibly can.
And that's kind of weird because they got the team so cheap. So what? I mean, that. I wonder if ticket prices are the reason attendance is down.
It might be. Yeah,
I mean, there's fewer people in there. Last year they fudged
yeah.
some, but didn't they announce all sellouts last year? Basically,
I
I
believe
think
you're
they
correct.
so yeah.
Yes, I
And
think you're right.
and some of that they had discounts for upstairs and stuff like that. But somebody did tell me that A-Rod and Lori and A-Rod thought the prices were too low in there. I've never heard anybody go into a NBA game in Target Center and say, "Boy, prices are too low here. I don't get
It's
this."
the new theater style lighting, Patrick. That's the new
Yes, that
thing.
makes it better. Yeah, if you pay $800 for the ticket, though, you might shine. You might be seen in the lights. So
Yeah, that's a good
I don't
point.
know if that's true, but
I don't think while they're still paying the players well, like the team itself, I think is well compensated. I think they're trying to bit from a business standpoint. I think they're bleeding every buck they possibly can. I'll tell you, I don't know if it saves them or not, but this idea when Michael Grady is not doing games of having poor Horton and Jim Pete do a simulcast. I was trying
yeah.
to listen to it driving to the Wild game on Saturday. I couldn't make heads or tails because they're talking about replays, and things like that. It is
Oh,
the
really?
cheapest way to
Unrated.
go.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Horton was so great doing it all by himself too. I mean, I like Jim Pete too, but
Yeah, well, they're
well,
both really good,
Maybe Horton wanted to do TV too. I don't know, but
which is fine. But then they should get somebody to do it from an audio standpoint, so you're not like talking about replays that nobody can see if they're
yeah,
listening to it.
yeah, that is true. I haven't. I guess I've only watched it on TV. I haven't listened. I haven't listened on the broadcast, which is there. What? How many over the air Timberwolves games make it onto the other station? Because they keep running into
On radio,
wild games.
a
Yeah.
few, but their whole thing is the app. So yeah,
Mhm.
they're mostly on the app, which is what I had on driving to the game on Saturday. But I mean, it's still I couldn't make heads or tails. When they're talking about you got to see what Gobert did here. It's like I can't see
I
it.
can't see. I better sell a car, and then we can talk again tomorrow.
Go ahead.
Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. You go straight out Cedar Avenue, 147th. Take a right. You will see a lot with some fantastic Buick SUVs in there. Great prices. They have a variety of SUVs. Also have some GMCs out there, and great vehicles, great prices right now. Here's the deal: low interest rates and high rebates, and financial people out there who will make sure it happens for you. Whatever you want to pay, they'll make sure that it works. I've bought my last 6, 7 cars out at Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. Can't recommend them highly enough. Apple Valley, Cedar Avenue, 147th.
All right, sir. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.
All
Thank you,
right,
Patrick.
sir. Thank
All right.
you.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye.